Welcome to Family Basics 101. I'm Dr. Bruce McClure, and as we continue our 5-part series, Marriage Is, today we will talk about marriage is the place for intimacy. Intimacy is generally defined as the closeness that exists between two individuals. But for marital purposes, we're talking about intimacy being the closeness that exists between a husband and a wife. Intimacy entails an enduring understanding of the spouse. It entails the enduring understanding regarding the husband toward the wife and also the wife toward the husband. Intimacy entails an enduring understanding of not only the person, but the domicile, the place, the home. There must be an intimacy about the place where the husband and the wife resides together. Also, intimacy entails an enduring understanding not only of the people involved, the husband and the wife, the domicile, the home, but also the subject and the events that take place within the home. The subjects are going to be many. The events are going to be many that takes place within the confines of a marriage. So intimacy also means that with the events and the conversations that take place within the confines of the marriage, there must be an intimacy or a closeness that exists between the individuals that conduct such subjects and who participate in such events. Intimacy involves an act or actions that communicate the level in the closeness that which exists between the individuals. So intimacy is not just something that you say, but intimacy is going to be communicated, and the closeness of the relationship is going to be communicated through how strong the level of communications are between the individuals who are in the marriage of intimacy. It involves acts that are full of energy. It involves acts that are full of closeness. It involves acts that are full of actions that constantly convey one to the other that this is indeed a marriage, and this marriage is the place for intimacy at all levels. It is not unusual to parse intimacy or to categorize intimacy into at least 5 major areas. Let's talk first about the physical area of intimacy. Physical, we're talking about proximity and the pleasure that takes place by simply wanting to be in the company of the other person, touching, kissing, caressing, sitting next to, lying next to, eating in the same room at the same time. Just the physical intimacy. There should be a high level of just, I like to be around the person. Secondly, there is emotional intimacy. It's the pleasure of internal stimulation. Not internal inside the sexual character of the person, but it just gives the person a good feeling inside. It's emotionally stimulating, and that's a type intimacy where marriage is the place for such intimacy to take place. There's a cognitive intimacy. It's the pleasure of mental receptiveness. The mind. It's where the individuals, both the husband and the wife, mutually are satisfying each other in terms of their communication with each other and how they perceive what is being said. They perceive the motives behind what is being said, and the cognition, the mind reception, the mind processing of the relationship. It's a relationship of safety. It's a relationship of love. It's a relationship of comfort. And it's a relationship where each individual have the mental capacity to say, my task is not only to please the Lord, but my task is also to be the best husband, or my task is to be the most satisfying wife cognitively that I can be. And then there's the experiential intimacy that takes place in a relationship. It's the pleasure of simply getting things done, moving through challenges, and overcoming obstacles together. There are always going to be events that take place within an intimate relationship. And marriage, above all, marriage is the place for intimacy of, we've got things to do. We've got challenges. We're going to raise children. There are going to be obstacles. There are going to be work situations. There are going to be social situations. There are going to be home repairs. There are going to be equipment breakdowns. There are going to be car malfunctions. But through it all, through the experiential experience of moving through the relationship together, that creates a bond of intimacy within the relationship. And then there's spiritual intimacy. It's the pleasure of sharing a common faith together. It's the pleasure, the intimate place of walking hand in hand toward heaven together and listening to the voice of God, studying the Word of God, and practicing, participating as a husband and as a wife in the intimate experience of serving God. When you put all of those together, that's where, when we talk about the sexual intimacy, the intercourse intimacy, the two becoming one becomes one of the most captivating, one of the most exhilarating, one of the most fulfilling experiences, where marriage is the place for that type sexual intimacy of practicing intercourse together. But there has to be an intercourse physically, there has to be the intercourse emotionally, cognitively, experientially, and spiritually in order for the sexual intercourse to really be the place that is fulfilled within the marriage in a fulfilling manner. In the Songs of Solomon, chapter 1, verses 13, 14, 15, and 16. A bundle of myrrh is my well-beloved unto me. He shall lie all night betwixt my breast. Do you see the intimacy of this, the closeness, the physical contact that's involved, the joy, the anticipation? My beloved is unto me as a cluster of ornament oil with all the fragrance and soothing and smoothing effects. That's the camphor in the vineyards of En-Gedi. The camphor oil was used as an atonement, as an aroma, a sweet-smelling savor, but it was also an oil that would just smooth the body and just make the person just warm to the touch. And then he says, behold, thou art fair, my love. Behold, thou art fair. Thou hast eyes of innocence, eyes of a dove, eyes not like a hawk, eyes of innocence, eyes that want to please, not to destroy. Behold, thou art fair, my beloved, yea, pleasant also in bed. The color of the bed was green. That signified the color of fertile fields, excitement to the owner as well as to the community, because in a fertile field, they knew that that was going to be a blessing for the community. Marriage is the place for intimacy. I'll see you back in class again next time. Don't be late and don't skip class.